Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a little while. I have been quite busy. You can probably notice a different background here. I'm house sitting, so that's part of why I haven't gotten a video out. As you can see, I'm holding my microphone right now, so it's a little bit of a different setup. It has been 12 games, about 2 weeks since the last video I came out with, and the Mariners are 6-6 in that time. It's been quite a roller coaster ride since I have recorded my last video. And from a recency biased perspective, things look great right now. They're 3-1 on this road trip they're on. They took 2 of 3 from Chicago, from the Cubs, not the White Sox. Very important that we clarify that this season. 2 of 3 in a very run-scoring friendly environment. So, both teams got to deal with the same wind carrying out to center field. Both teams got to deal with the warm weather, and the Mariners came out on top against a very good offensive Chicago Cubs team. And then, game 1 against Minnesota tonight, they score 11 runs. They've scored 40 plus runs on this road trip already. And, it's hard to think, hey, we're back, because they'll do this where they, look good for a week and then they get swept, And right now, it's, we're on one of those highs. Let's hope we can keep it that way. But let me just sort of walk you through the last 2 weeks in case you haven't been paying attention. The Mariners, like I said, are 6-6 since my last video. In the last 2 weeks, they have a .292 team batting average. They have a .365 on base percentage and a .480 slugging percentage for an OPS of .845. They have scored 65 runs in 12 games, which is incredible for this team. They have 18 home runs in those 12 games, and their OPS plus is 129, so well above league average. On the pitching side of things, they have a 2.61 strikeout to walk ratio in that time. They have allowed an opponent average of 223, an on-base percentage of 298, an OPS plus of exactly league average, 100, and they've allowed 53 runs while striking out 99 hitters. So, the pitching is improving. It's stabilizing, sans the Cubs series, because that was just, if you're ever going to not really put a lot of stock into a series, that Cubs series was the one to do it. Emerson Hancock gave up 9 runs in that series, and he's been solid. George Kirby gave up, I don't know, he didn't look good. I don't remember the exact score. And Logan Gilbert gave up 4 over 5 innings, and he didn't really throw bad pitches. It felt like every ball that went into the air turned into a home run there in Chicago. It was 30-mile-per-hour winds towards center. It was ridiculous. So series by series over the last 2 weeks, let's see, what was the first series since my last video? That was the Guardian sweep. That was a complete team-winning series if I've ever seen one. Pitching looked great. Run prevention was the name of the game. There was a comeback against Joan Duran. And, all around, just a great series. And then, following that up, you play not great ball against the Boston Red Sox. Wow. Very loud trucks here where I'm house sitting. Against the Red Sox, you outscore them in this series despite losing 2 of 3. Score 8 runs in Game 2. Game 1, Gilbert's first start back, he looked terrific, but you just could not score any runs. One inning in particular will haunt Mariners fans if they miss the playoffs by one game, and that is the inning where you had the bases loaded with nobody out, and the top of the lineup came up to bat and struck out in order 1, 2, 3. That just can't happen. But they've been a lot better since then. So, forgot to mention, they also got swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks in these last 2 weeks, where they scored quite a few runs. They just got outscored by an Arizona team that really, really likes to score and give up runs. Um, I think they just like offense in general. Anyway, so that was a really rough series. Left a really bad taste in your mouth after losing 2 out of 3 to LA. A road trip where you go 1-5. Really not great. You bounce back with Cleveland, so a 3-3 stretch. Then Boston, as I just mentioned, and then the Chicago Cubs series where they won 2 of 3, outscored the Cubs, top 5 offense in most categories in the major leagues. Now we're at a point where, as a fan, you wonder, is this team legit? Are they going to continue to score runs like this? Probably not to this clip, but can they find some consistency where they're giving their pitchers 4-5 plus runs a game and the pitching gets back to that league leading form of last year? Luis Castillo, he's going to give up hard contact. He's probably going to give up a few home runs, but he manages to survive. He's a veteran, and he pitches well enough to be probably your third or fourth best pitcher, depending on the day. Gilbert hasn't really missed a beat since the injury. I mean, the reason he gave up 4 in Chicago was mostly, I think, because of the conditions. He pitched pretty well. In his first game back against Boston, he struck out 10 in 5 innings and gave up 2 runs. But they were very good pitches, well-located pitches. Roman Anthony took a ball that was outside of the strike zone, upper 90s, away from him, and took it out to right field. He's a lefty. So you're expecting, Gilbert to be his old self. Kirby is a little bit nerve-wracking because you feel like with his profile where he's going to be in the strike zone a lot, he really has to be on the edges. And when he's not, he is very hittable. I think you can expect him to give up maybe 3 runs a night and, make go 5 or 6 innings. And then Brian Wu is just going to be solid, 6 innings of work every night. He might give up a solo home run here and there like he did against the Twins tonight, but he's your best pitcher this year, and I don't think it's close. You feel decent about your pitching rotation, and your bullpen's been actually really good recently. Pretty much ever since that really cold streak against the Orioles, they couldn't hold a lead. Against the Angels, they couldn't hold a lead. Against the Twins at home, I still think another high-leverage bullpen arm is going to be a move that they make at the deadline. I don't think that's a question. I think a high-leverage bullpen arm, a corner infielder, I don't care if it's a first baseman or third baseman, it seems as though the third basemen that are available, I think it's going to be few or far between. The Diamondbacks say they're not selling, so your chance of getting Suarez is pretty low. I've heard Austin Riley from the Braves thrown out there. He's got a few more years of club control, but he's kind of having a down year. So, you can take that as a positive or negative, right? Maybe sell him. If they sell him low, they don't have to give up as big of a prospect package. But then you question, does that mean that's what he is for the rest of his career? At first base, we've heard Rhys Hoskins, also Josh Naylor, but again, Diamondbacks seem like they're not selling, even though they're kind of a mediocre team in the best division in baseball, so seems strange. And then a corner outfielder, a right fielder, would be great. Honestly, in a perfect world, you'd have Luke Raley playing first base and platooning with Donovan Solano, who's been very good recently, by the way. I still think they should upgrade first base because I don't know, with Solano, it's like, what have you done for me lately? Not like, what have you done for me all season? So, yeah, a first baseman, a bullpen arm, maybe a corner outfielder. And if you're concerned about Hancock, which I kind of flip a coin in my head about how I feel about Hancock, then you go out and get a reliever. And I think just because you're anticipating Bryce Miller being back and healthy next year and his normal self, I think with a starter you get a rental, just because, I mean, you don't want there to be a logjam next year when you have all of your young, and talented pitchers back. Unless you plan on dealing Castillo, which is a very real possibility, especially because he's having such a good year this year. I think the Mariners might try to sell high on Castillo this offseason. But yeah, pretty good stuff from the Mariners recently, and I'm very excited to see what they do in this trade deadline. I think this could be one of the busiest trade deadlines that I've seen, as a fan, or at least the busiest deadline I've seen as a fan while I've been sort of an active participant in fandom and sort of looked at the roster construction and things like that. I also am really excited for the MLB draft. The Mariners have the 3rd pick and the 35th pick. I don't know if this is just my heart talking, but I would love to see them draft Ava Arquette from the OSU Beavs. As an Oregonian, I would love to see a Beav in a Mariner uniform, even if, shortstop is not really a position of concern in the Mariners minor league system. I still would love to see him drafted. Then again, I don't think you can really go wrong with these first few picks. You got some great arms, some great college arms. The Astros keep winning, so we'll see if the Mariners win this division or if they make the playoffs in a wild card spot, or maybe they lose out by a game again. Who knows with this team, but things are looking up. The last time I made a video, I think, was at probably one of the lowest points in this season as a fan, and things have looked a lot better since then. So, yeah, one more thing I wanted to talk about is the incredible season from Cal Raleigh. If you're paying attention, I don't even need to bring this up, but he is giving Aaron Judge a run for his money in the MVP conversation. Cal Raleigh is leading the league in home runs with 32. He is second in the league in OPS, WOBA, which is a stat I'm still learning a lot about, but apparently it's an important stat. He's second in the league in wins above replacement, and he is less than a win short of Aaron Judge, who at the beginning of the year was about 2+ wins ahead of everyone else. So if you use WAR as a good metric for MVP, which is, pretty typical from voters, Cal is right on the heels of Judge. And, he's doing things that no other catcher has ever done. He is the only catcher to have 30 home runs before the All-Star break. Cal is on pace to break the single-season home run record from a catcher. And honestly, he's on pace to break the American League home run record. Now, do I think that'll happen? Who knows? He's due for a cold streak, right? A couple other things I wanted to note as far as WAR is concerned, and WAR is honestly the ultimate stat, right? It calculates how many wins you are providing above a replacement player. So really, what other stat matters? Wins are really what matters in any sport. Julio is 23rd in the league in WAR. Now, granted, that includes defense, right? And a lot of those wins have been accumulated through defense. But he's also hitting for a lot better average, than he has. His strikeout rate is lower than it usually is. If he starts pulling the ball in the air, there is no limit to how good Julio can be. And then JP, he's 29th. JP Crawford, that is. He is 29th in the league in WAR at 2.3. JP is also top 5 in on-base percentage. I really hope these guys are all-stars. I don't know if Julio deserves it as much as Crawford, But you're looking at probably 2 or 3 Mariners All-Stars this year, and that is great to see. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Might be a bit of a longer video just because it's been so long since I've posted. But appreciate you. We'll try to be more consistent. As you can see, been very busy and haven't really had the recording tools that I typically have. But regardless, thank you for watching, and go Mariners.